Welcome to the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and this is the place to get all the information on what's going on inside the athletic department at IU Kokomo. And joining us for today's show, it's my guy. He's one of the assistant athletic directors at IU Kokomo. It's Grant Patterson. And Grant, you've been talking about it. You sent me a text. This is a big week for Cougars athletics.
Yeah, man, it's about time. We talked about it plenty of times all summer. This is my first full-time summer. We're finally here. It's time to go. We've got sports beginning this week with volleyball and soccer. Both teams are on the road, but one team's not too far from home. There will be an opportunity to watch them, and both teams are taking on some stout competition early on in the year, as early as it gets. The first eligible playable dates of the year for the NAI calendar, and we're on the road for both. We're ready to hit the road. One team has hit the road, and then it's gonna be a tough opening week.
Yeah.
Our non-conference schedules aren't going to be easy. I feel like we're climbing as an NAI as a school, as a program. So definitely some tough matchups early in the year, but we're ready to go this week.
You know, before we started this show today, Grant sent me a text, said, hey, there will be a couple polls that'll be out. One will be out, the last one before we put the show together. And so I was trying to find the Twitter or the Instagram, trying to figure out what app was going to have it posted first. And it was on Twitter. And I saw a day before that volleyball was in the preseason poll was number one in the conference. Soccer is as well.
Yeah, 2 for 2 so far. Can't start off much better than that.
No, man, not at all.
It's I'm getting used to writing winning articles already, even though we haven't played a game. Both women's volleyball and women's soccer were picked to win the River States Conference, according to the 2024 coaches preseason poll. So that just speaks to the domination that they've shown. Volleyball for the last decade, soccer for the last 2 years. Soccer, the first 2 NAIA tournament appearances in program history come after they have won back-to-back River States Conference championships. So there's that. Of course, they're going to be number one coming off of that. They got 8 of 10 first-place votes. Rio Grande is in second, according to the soccer poll. They got one of the other 2 first-place votes. Shawnee State third. They did not get the other first-place vote. Wow. It was IU East in fourth. So 8 of 10 first-place votes, not quite unanimous, but pretty unanimous. As for volleyball, a little more unanimous. I think we got 10 of 12 first-place votes, and IU East got the other 2. If you've been following River States Conference volleyball, you know that it is pretty much IU Kokomo and IU East atop the conference, especially after Point Park has now left the conference to seek Division II after a strong season 2 years ago. So it's a great time to be a Cougar at IU Kokomo in these fall sports programs because we've gone through 2 polls. Yes, there will be more polls, and spoiler alert, we're not going to be on the top of every single River States Conference coaches preseason poll this year, but you can't start any better than 2 for 2 at the top, and that's exactly what we did this week with women's volleyball and women's soccer, Jay.
That's a very exciting, it's a very great, fun thing to see, and as you fans will be able to watch the soccer team, watch the volleyball team, one thing we'll notice for the volleyball team is they were good last year, made I think to the Sweet 16, made it to the final site in the NAIA National Tournament. But also on that graphic, I saw that volleyball, they're 6-time defending RSC champions. That's going to be tough for Heather Hayes and her squad to keep that mindset going for them to win it once again this year.
Yeah, and that's just the postseason tournament. That doesn't even speak to the level of dominance that we've seen in the regular season. I mentioned just now 2 years ago, Point Park got the better of us in the regular season, but for the better part of this last decade, and Heather's past a decade here at IUK, but for the better part of the decade, they've not only won the postseason tournament crown, they've won the regular season crown, and the dominance is just absolutely insane. And for me, this is my first year full time here, but I think 4th year around IUK athletics, and I've just gotten to see firsthand. Our volleyball team is so fun to watch.
Yeah, yes, they are.
And I didn't necessarily come in like, oh my goodness, I love watching volleyball, but NAIA volleyball, especially in the River States Conference, especially when you have IU East and IU Kokomo head-to-head, it's a sight to behold, and these teams will kick it off this week.
I will second that about the volleyball team being fun to watch. My wife and I went to a couple games last year, and I hadn't been to a volleyball game ever in my life. Outside of watching volleyball on TV at the conference level in college, I had never been to a volleyball game, even when I was in high school. Just didn't go. Man, so much talent is on the court. They play together. They're excited. And then seeing them punch a ticket to make the tournament when that game was hosted here on campus at IUK, I'm thinking, man, it's so exciting. And I honestly, I've been looking forward to watching them play this year. Speaking of watching them play this year, we don't have to wait that much longer, Grant. they're going to be playing this week in Marion, and they got 4 games in 2 days to kick off the season.
Yeah, and if you're a local product, you know Marion's just a short jaunt away. Marion and Kokomo, NCC rivals in high school sports. It's the same thing. Be over there in 35 minutes.
Yeah,
no more than 35 minutes, Jay, especially to Indiana Wesleyan. Just right off 22. IU Kokomo will battle some strong teams. We'll start off with Midland. I think they finished the year ranked 15th in the nation. I think their NAI program out of Nebraska. We'll battle Wilberforce, a historically black university out of Ohio. We'll battle both of those two teams Thursday at Indiana Wesleyan in volleyball, and then we'll be back Friday morning for the biggest matchup of the week, arguably in all of NAI volleyball. It'll be number 1 Indiana Wesleyan, the defending national champions. They'll host us, the IU Kokomo Cougars. I believe we finished year number 14. And then we're going to wrap up the weekend. You guys will be there for IU Kokomo versus Grace, which will be another outstanding matchup. Grace has been power in the Crossroads League for years and years, and they got better both on the court and on the coaching staff. I just saw that they picked up Purdue volleyball alum Maddie Skimmerhorn.
Okay.
It's a difficult name to pronounce, but she's an assistant coach. She plays pro volleyball for the Indy team, so they're going to get better both on the court and off the court. Overall, 3 really, really good teams that we're going to take on at Indiana Wesleyan this week, and a chance to make a statement early in the year when you're already ranked fairly high according to last year's final rankings.
The one thing I'm looking forward to in that game, not the game against Grace, but the game against Indiana Wesleyan, it's a little payback. I do believe they knocked IU Kokomo out in the national tournament last year. And there are some girls that are on the team this year that still have that bad taste in their mouth. I'm sure Heather Hayes does too. So a little payback, a little revenge, whatever you want to call it. If you're able to get to the game, I encourage everybody to go.
Yeah, and I'll reiterate that. Friday, 10 a.m., Lucky Arena on the campus of Indiana Wesleyan. That is this Friday at 10 a.m. We'll battle Indiana Wesleyan. It's going to be a sight to behold. I can only hope that it's as good of a match as it was at the NAI final site last year. We were the first team to take Indiana Wesleyan to 5 sets, and throughout their whole season, they ended up completing an undefeated season after getting by us. They won 3 more matches to win the national title. So, yeah, that shows that we gave them as good of a run for their money as anybody else did last year. And, yes, we lose some key players. They don't lose much, but we also return a lot of production that produced in that match with Indiana Wesleyan. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on this Friday in Marion.
Speaking of what's going on this week, it's not on Friday. I believe it's Thursday and a Saturday, and it's not in Indiana. Unfortunately, it is down in Georgia. If you're looking to get away right now this week, go ahead and head down to Georgia to watch the soccer team play because they got 2 games in the South to kick off their season. Yeah,
last year they headed to Mississippi to start their year. This year they'll head to Georgia. They'll play 2 matches in Georgia this year. Jay, it's pretty much just like volleyball. We're not looking to play any opponents that will be easy wins.
Yeah.
And that's the case with soccer. They'll start off their season against number 6 SCADs. That is Savannah College of Art and Design. So they'll take on SCAD on their home field Thursday at 6 p.m. So how can you start tougher? That's essentially like yes, they're number 6 in the nation, but that's essentially like if you add in that they're playing on their home field in the heat that we're not necessarily used to as much as they are. I'd say that's essentially like playing a number 1 team in the nation type feel, similar to what volleyball's getting. So they're going to get a test day 1, women's soccer is, but we've been a solid program for the past few years under Coach Sohaila Akavine. I don't see why that stops now, and hopefully the girls can, if not come away with a win Thursday, at least be happy about how they fought against SCAD. They're a dynamic program, man. I've seen them play in the past few years, and it's going to be a difficult task. But I know Sohaila and staff will be ready and prepared. And then Saturday they'll head north to come home on Friday, and then they'll stop in Dalton, Georgia, just north of Atlanta, and they'll take on Dalton State, the Roadrunners of Dalton State. So whether it's looking to go 2-0, whether it's looking to go 1-1, or whatever it is, withdrawals being a possibility in soccer, they've got a tough week ahead too. So 2 programs starting their competition this week, 2 programs seeing tough competition this week. We'll see how it all pans out, Jay.
One thing that I'm going to say publicly right now, I don't know if Sohaila Akavine or Heather Hayes are watching this right now, but this show has been about them the entire time. Last year, we got the privilege to talk to both Heather Hayes and Sohaila Akavine after they won the RSC crown in the tournament. So Sohaila Akavine brought the trophy, and I made a joke about it at one point, saying, hey, I hope, like, if you guys win it, you bring the trophy in. We would love to have it, little prop. Well, she brought it in. I remember Heather Hayes saying, man, I wish I knew I would have brought ours in, too. Well, Heather and Sohaila, if you guys win the conference tournament this year, gladly, we will welcome that trophy right here on this table. Maybe it's not this table, but maybe a different one. We'll welcome it here on the show because we would love to see that hardware here after you guys have worked hard to earn it.
Yeah, and, hey, I know that it's been a long time coming. Yes, we have an individual national champion in school history, but I don't think we're too far away from an NAI national championship either, Jay. So to hell with the River States Conference trophies. We'll definitely take those, but I want an NAI trophy, and I want a big red banner behind us for the NAI national championship coming sometime soon to IU Kokomo, we hope.
Grant, anything else you want to leave us with about either volleyball or soccer as they kick off their seasons this week?
Even if you can't make it to Marion, you're probably not going to be able to make it down to Georgia for women's soccer. But if you can't, I'm sure volleyball will be streamed all week.
Okay.
It will be there will be a fee for volleyball. You will have to pay to watch it. But if you're free, why not make the trip over to Marion? Reach out to us on our social medias if you have any issues about getting where you need to be. But otherwise, if you can't make it, check out IUKCougars.com. Check out our social media pages. Each of these teams' pages, I'll be keeping them up to date with scores throughout each of their matches throughout the week. So that's 6 total sporting events this week going on. 4 volleyball matches, 2 soccer matches. IUKCougars.com or IUK Athletics social media is the place to be.
I really appreciate Grant Patterson for coming on the show once again. He is one of the assistant athletic directors at IUK. And guys, this has been the Cougar Cast. We'll see you next time.